What's going on, YouTube? So of course, when it comes to midsize sedans, the two most popular names in the game are the Toyota Camry and the Honda Accord.
And today we're with the latest 2024 Honda Accord. And we have a question. Is this still a great midsize sedan buy, even with that new Camry coming out?
Well, let's go ahead and find out. So let's start things off here under the hood with our spec dump. Now, of course, the big news with this next generation Accord is the fact that most of the trim levels have moved to a hybrid exclusive powertrain. That's going to be the Sport and above. That's what we have, of course, and it is a 2-motor electric system paired with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine for 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque.
It is going to be front-wheel drive exclusively, and that hybrid system gets you really good fuel economy. It comes in at 44 miles a gallon combined for the Sport trim levels, and if you choose the EXL, you can get up to 48 miles a gallon combined.
We're going to show you the performance later on in a test drive. While we're on that test drive, we're going to get things like our signature sound level reading. That way you can compare to other midsize sedans such as the Toyota Camry and Hyundai Sonata. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and take a look at the fresh exterior design. Now, obviously, with this new generation of Accord, Honda did redesign the exterior, and honestly, it's a pretty big departure from the previous generation. The biggest takeaway for this new model is just kind of a more mature look. That's kind of the way that a lot of models in their lineup have been going. So up in the front, you're going to find a simple shaped to your grille here. We do have the gloss black finish because we have the Sport grade. We also have gloss black finish along the lower part of the fascia, and you would have a silver accent there instead if you went for the touring trim level. Now, we have really premium lighting on board with this new Accord. You'll find standard LED headlights across all the trim levels. These are reflector LEDs. We also have a daytime running light and turn signal indicator running across the top. No fog lights are going to be offered, however. And in terms of that next generation Camry, if you want to see what that looks like, we do have a first look on our channel where we kind of walk around that. But they are going to be pretty different. That Camry is going to be a little bit on the sportier side versus this Accord. Now, as far as the rear design is concerned, Honda definitely kind of cleaned it up from the previous generation to go with more of like a smooth line approach.
Yeah, and as far as 2024 changes, there really aren't any. So here with this Sport L trim level, you are going to have a few spicy elements to kind of spice up the overall look, meaning you have a blacked out spoiler up top, and then you also have these new full-length taillights for this all-new version of the Accord. And Drew's going to see if all the elements are LED. Now, we do have an LED brake light portion, LED amber turn signal indicator, and an LED reverse light. So all three elements of your taillight are LED. It's a very premium looking taillight overall. I really love the design. Now down here at the bottom, we do have a black piece of plastic going through here. However, we're not going to have exposed exhaust outlets on any version of the all-new Accord, which I'm a little disappointed by. Definitely the all-new 25 Camry will have a quad exhaust, actually, so I'm a little disappointed that no version of the Accord will have exhaust.
Now, in terms of our wheels, each trim level kind of has its own little thing going on. A lot of the trims are going to come with 17-inch alloys. Your higher-end examples will come with 19-inch alloys, including both the Sport trim levels. So with the Sport L, this one has an exclusive gloss black finish, so this is one of the ways you're going to be able to tell on the exterior the regular Sport from the Sport L trim level. Speaking of gloss black, we also have the gloss black finish up here on the mirrors. All but the base model will come with blind spot monitoring, and we also have heating on the vast majority of trims.
Now, here at the side of the 2024 Accord, we're going to have an overall vehicle length of about 195 inches long, which is a couple inches larger than the previous generation Accord and larger than a lot of your main rivals. Now, as far as some of the design elements, we do have blacked out window surrounds for the Sport L trim level. And then moving forward to our safety systems, we are going to have all 4 active safety features as standard equipment on every single version of the Accord. Of course, the 2025 Camry will also match that, but I'm definitely happy to see that even if you choose the base model, you're going to have all the safety systems. But guys, there is a ton of practicality on the inside, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now, this vehicle is designed to bring the family together. And you know what happens when the family comes together, though? Smells.
That's why before we go any further in the video, we want to share with you a cool new product in the fragrance category. We review hundreds of cars per year, and when that new car smell finally runs out, who wants a stinky, stale smelling car? Not us, and that's where Drift comes in to help, since they have created air care products for your car.
Their car products are made from sustainable materials, with scents made from natural essential and fragrance oils. The scent we have today is amber, and you'll catch hints of fresh rain, amber, and lavender. It smells fresh, relaxing, and simply makes getting in the car feel like a nice experience.
And to boot, their car products range from $9 to $15, so they are super affordable. And may we add, stylish. We love the classy way this wood freshener looks attached to the visor.
Also, what's cool about these car air fresheners is that you can get them as a subscription. First, you receive a starter kit with the clip and the scent. They also have a cool scent of the month, which features a new limited edition scent. They're inspired by the season and the memories and emotions attached to it.
To sweeten the deal, Drift is giving Car Confections viewers 55% off your first month. Make sure to use our coupon code CONFECTIONS to get 55% off your first month at Drift.
That's less than $5 for your first month.
Now let's head into the inside. Here's the key fob for the Honda brand. It's the latest kind of small key fob. By the way, though, Smart Entry and Remote Start are both standard across the entire lineup of the Accord, so that's a nice feature. Reaching behind the door handle, that will unlock the door. And then taking a look inside the cabin, we have all the latest and greatest in terms of Honda design. But first, before we get into individual features, I want to talk about your seat options. So on your lower end trim levels, those are going to come with cloth seating. And then when you get to the EXL trim level, that will get you real leather. Obviously, this is the Sport L, and the L in that stands for leather primarily, although it does also mean a few pieces of equipment. Nevertheless, as you can see, nice look to these seats. We have some perforation running down the center, some color contrast stitching. Black, though, is the only way you can get this, so I hope you like the dark seats, because that's the only color option for the Sport L. Now, coming down below, we do have a 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. Only the base LX will have a manual seat. And let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that I've fully climbed inside, let's get into the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, nice leather padding. We have stitching details. You're going to have a leather trim actually all through the entire center section, and then we have a soft touch plastic along the top. And while I'm over here, I do want to mention the memory seats I forgot to talk about earlier. These are actually going to be included on every single model that has leather seats. Up above, soft touch plastic for the upper dashboard. We have more soft touch material through there. You're going to find a piano black accent around this new, single vent design that we've seen across the entire Honda lineup. And then down here on your lower panels, these are going to be hard touch, but everything fits together extremely nicely, just like every Honda. Let's go ahead and fire it up with the standard push button start. Okay, so let's get into some individual details. We'll start with the gauge cluster. One of the interesting things about the next generation Accord is that all the models will come standard with the gauge cluster that you see here. It's a 10.2-inch full digital gauge cluster, and you can reconfigure this with several different kinds of information. You can also add a head-up display to this if you choose the touring trim. Pulling back to the steering wheel, nice leather-wrapped steering wheel, latest Honda design. It is manual tilt and telescoping, but steering wheel heating is not going to be offered on any trim level. We do have the aluminum pedals down there for these sport grade models, and let's get into interior storage. So, this is Car Confections, and as you can see with my shirt here, our emblem is a donut, which is why we like to do the Car Confections donut test. And this car is perfect for this test because it fits a dozen donuts. That's exactly the number we want every vehicle to fit, is a dozen donuts, and it does that. So it's really good for a midsize sedan. We also have 2 cup holders in front of that, and you have a large area here where you can stick phones or any other loose objects. Just be aware that you're not going to get a wireless phone charging pad unless you choose the loaded Touring. As far as the shifter is concerned, we actually just have a standard traditional shifter, no push button style like some versions of the previous generation used to offer. You have paddle shifters on the steering wheel for simulated gear changes. And when I go into reverse, all trims will come with this standard backup camera. It does have active trajectory. We have multiple angles that we can choose from, but a 360 camera is not available. Behind the shifter, you have your electronic parking brake with brake hold. You also have your various drive modes right there. Now let's move on to our climate controls, where you'll find a dual zone automatic setup on all trim levels. Nice and easy to make your adjustments. Off to the side of that, you're also going to find 3-stage heated seats on every trim level except for the LX and the Sport. You can get ventilated seats by choosing the Touring as well. And let's rise above and see our volume knob right there, and we'll take a sample of the audio system. There's 3 different ones. We have the middle option, which is 8 speakers. You can also get a Bose sound system by choosing the Touring trim, but let's give this a sample. I like the sound quality of this system. It's really quite solid. Fills up the cabin nicely. You have a decent amount of bass. Obviously, the Bose is going to be better if you're really into audio, though. Speaking of something that's way better than the previous generation, let's talk about the infotainment system. So this is kind of the latest and greatest in terms of your Honda infotainment system. Most of the models are going to come with this 12.3-inch display. So it's one of the larger displays in the Honda lineup. And everything is going to be very nice and responsive. As you can see, the graphics are nice. We have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. But if you want navigation with the built-in Google options, so that's going to be things like your Google Assistant, all those things are going to be built in. That is going to require you choose the Touring trim level. Up above here, we have a manual dimming mirror. And one of the nice things about the Accord is the fact that almost every single trim level will come standard with a sunroof. It's only going to be the base model that misses out.
Now, even though the CR-V may be the favorite for families in the Honda lineup, there are still a lot of people that buy Accords that have families. So let's go ahead and dive into what you're going to get when it comes to this rear area. Now, I'm very happy to just tell you straight from the bat, this is a absolutely massive amount of rear space. As far as the technical legroom figures, we're looking at about 41 inches of legroom, about 38 inches of headroom. So very, very impressive leg and headroom figures in this Accord. Really, the legroom figure is the best midsize sedan. And that's backed up because here at Car Confections, we do the knee room measure. So this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9". And look at this. We have a full whopping foot of space between my knees and the seat back. Very few vehicles can say that. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think really the only vehicles that have ever had more than a foot of knee space would be something like a Ram crew cab model, which is obviously way bigger than this. Now, as far as, sliding my feet up underneath the seat, I can barely even reach my feet underneath of the seat, and the seat itself is very comfortable. Now, as far as features, though, this is going to be an area I'm a little disappointed in. Here on the Sport L, we have no vents, and we also have no USB ports. I do believe you can get USB ports on the higher versions of the Accord, but with the price tag of the Sport L, I do think they should definitely be included. Now, here in the center, we do have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders inside. I also want to point out, if you get the Touring model, you can get heated rear seats, so that's a nice feature. Now, as far as the rear door trim is concerned, all of this is going to be a cheaper hard-touch plastic as compared to the front. So the front has a nice soft-touch material. This is all going to be hard-touch, so keep that in mind. And this bottle storage down in the very bottom is pretty large, but as far as fitting, the new Rage and water bottles, Stanley water bottles, it's not very good at that because it, kind of has to be completely sideways and then it might spill out. And walking up to the cargo area in the Accord, you just press the button to open it up, and they have nicely dampened the trunk to kind of pop all the way open, almost like a power trunk. Now, This area, once again, is going to show off just how much space they were able to get out of this Honda Accord. It's really going to maximize the amount of cargo capacity that you have, as well as rear seat room and interior storage. So that's something to keep in mind when you compare this to the Camry. It's going to be quite a bit larger in terms of space. 16.7 cubic feet for this all-new Accord. Ton of room for a mid-size sedan. Now, as far as features, I want to point out we do have 60/40 split folding seat backs, and then it's car Confections after all, so we like to get a space length figure. And behind the seats to the rear of the cargo area, we're sitting at 46 inches of overall length. Let's see how wide the cargo opening is for this mid-size sedan, and we're sitting at about 36 inches wide. As far as other things to point out, if I lift up the cargo floor, as you can see, we do not have a spare tire on this Accord hybrid. And it is worth noting the hybrid version of this model does not reduce your cargo capacity at all over the gas versions. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Honda Accord, and in this test drive we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading. However, first we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Alright, so there we are accelerating, not quite up to 60. Obviously we're going up a hill and we were heading into a red light, but it's a good example of how quick this feels. With this hybrid system, the Accord really feels quick on its feet, and power, of course, is pretty good as well. So just to remind you of what we were talking about at the beginning of the video with the spec dump, this is Honda's 4th generation hybrid system. It has 2 electric motors paired with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and the total power is going to be 204 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque. So you have a lot of torque, especially.
Yeah, I think you really feel that torque, especially when you accelerate off the line. You know, you kind of get that electric torque off the line, and then nearly 250 pound-feet of torque is quite a bit for a mid-size sedan. Yeah. Now, it is worth noting, this, of course, is the more powerful version of the Accord. So your hybrid is actually going to be the most horsepower and the most torque in the Accord lineup, because last year with this all-new Accord, they did discontinue the 2.0T model, so no more turbocharged 4-cylinder option, and you're also not going to have a manual transmission option. So that's worth noting. This is going to be kind of the sportiest Accord setup, which of course you would expect out of the sport trim level of the Accord. Now, it is worth noting, though, if you choose the LX or the EX trim level, so those 2 more basic trim levels, you're going to get a different engine setup. That's going to be a fully gasoline setup, 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 192 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque as well. So pretty significant advantages when you choose this hybrid system over the traditional gas setup in those 2 basic trim levels.
Let's talk about the other element of the powertrain, and that's kind of your transmission experience. Now, with the 2-motor hybrid system, Honda's system is actually configured a little bit differently than, say, Toyota's hybrid system. Because of that, you don't really have a traditional continuously variable transmission, but you do have a continuously variable transmission-like experience, I guess is how the best way I can phrase it. Just, kind of a consumer-focused way of explaining it. You do have that kind of CVT-like sensation, but you do have shift simulations on board, which is something that helps have a more traditional feel.
Yeah. Another thing I do want to point out about this all-new Accord is that it is going to be front-wheel drive exclusive. They are not offering all-wheel drive on this model, so unlike stuff like the Toyota Camry, you're not going to have all-wheel drive as an option. A lot of the midsize sedans actually now for 2024 have all-wheel drive. The Sonata added it, and the K5 already had it, so that's something that we would have maybe liked Honda to have added for this all-new generation, but it is going to be front-wheel drive exclusively. Now, as far as your fuel economy is concerned, of course, one of the big benefits of having this hybrid, more than just having power, is also to get better fuel economy. So for the Sport L, and the Touring trim levels, you're sitting at 46 in the city, 41 highway, 44 miles a gallon combined. So really impressive fuel economy figures for this Accord. You're going to be saving a lot of money over the pump, or on the pump, after years of owning this vehicle, that is for sure, as compared to the traditional gas setup that you get on the LX and the EX. You get 32 miles a gallon combined, so 12 mpg improvement, and you get more power. So I think it's pretty much a no-brainer, at least to get the Sport trim level, in my opinion, to get that better fuel economy and more powerful setup.
In terms of the hybrid system itself, Honda's done a tremendous job of making it very smooth. The operation is excellent, and the handoff between the gas engine and electric propulsion is really quite seamless. Yeah, really your biggest indication is just going to be the little EV badge will be lit up when you're in EV mode. But otherwise, if you are paying attention, I mean, you're really not going to notice it at all. And I think the engine itself, while it's running, is a little bit quieter than Toyota's hybrid.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And speaking of quietness, let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. We have the fan speed on 1. And 63 decibels is our official Car Confections sound level reading, going 55 miles per hour. Now, as far as that sound level reading, I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to a lot of those main rivals like the Camry, because I can actually go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we've posted all of the sound level readings for all the cars that we've reviewed on this channel, which I promise you is a lot, and we can see how it compares. And as far as how that does compare to the midsize sedan segment, that is going to put it definitely on the louder side. We see that in a lot of Honda products. They do tend to be on the louder side for the segment, and I definitely can just say, sitting here in the seat, listening to what I'm hearing come into the cabin, it does indeed seem a little bit louder than stuff like the Toyota Camry, Kia K5, and Hyundai Sonata. And I also want to take a second here to talk about your ride quality for this Accord. Now, this is an area that I'm very impressed with. I always mention this when it comes to the Accord because it's a family sedan. Even though this is one of the sportier family sedans, it's still a family sedan first and foremost. And when you hit a bump, it does a really good job of soaking it up. One of the things that I really love about it is actually these seats. These seats are very, very comfortable as well. And last year we drove quite a few different versions of the Accord, and I will say pretty much all of the versions of this vehicle are very, very comfortable.
Honda hybrid power can keep up with the burly V8s. Let's talk a little bit about dynamics. I think that's an important thing to address when it comes to the Accord because, first of all, nowadays especially, if you're shopping for a midsize sedan, I think you want a little bit of a sportier feel, or else you'd probably be looking at something like a CR-V. Secondly, the Accord has always really nailed that aspect of it, and it's one of the very best in the segment. It continues to be just a very athletic feeling vehicle. Yeah. They've done a good job of tuning the chassis to have great dynamics. The other thing I really like is the steering. Look how responsive this is. So even without having, in the absence of the 2.0T or the former 6-speed manual, yes, we do miss those, but you do still have a pretty sporty dynamic behind the wheel that reminds you of that Honda heritage.
All right, now it's time for us to do our airball and slam dunk, which is our favorite and least favorite element about this 2024 Honda Accord. Drew, do you want to go ahead and kick us off with the slam dunk?
Yeah, so our slam dunk for today is going to be the overall space. This is a very spacious midsize sedan, and it's just extremely practical. That's something that we figured Honda would carry to the new generation, and of course, they absolutely did.
Yeah, and as far as our airball is concerned, there are a few different little things that we can nitpick with this all-new Accord, but I think a big one for a lot of you guys is going to be the missing all-wheel drive option. When you compare to the vast majority of rivals, as I already stated, they do have all-wheel drive. They've either had it in the past or added it for 2024, and that is not something that the Honda Accord has to offer. And lastly here, I do want to talk about your warranty. It's going to be protected by Honda's Signature Warranty, which is a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty. Additionally, Honda has recently added 2 years and 24,000 miles of complimentary maintenance.
Now for 2024, the Accord doesn't rise much in price. Most of the trim levels are only going to rise around $300. So that means we're going to start at $27,895 for the LX. Of course, there's quite a few different trim levels to select. You go all the way up to the Touring, which starts at $38,190. Now, as far as this particular model today, we have the Accord Sport L. $34,875 is our base price, plus the paint color, $1095 for destination. $36,425 is what we're looking at as tested today. And if you're looking to buy a Honda Accord or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new car. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off on this in-depth review of the 2024 Honda Accord Sport L. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in your purchasing decision, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're joining in on this Car Confections family, and we do a ton of automotive content that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. Thanks, Drift, for sponsoring. Be sure to check out the link below.